Hello, Fabric community. This is the July edition of the Fabric Monthly Update. I am Jason Himmelstein, Principal PM Manager for Content Strategy in Microsoft Fabric. Before we dive into this month's update, I want to share with you that we will be bringing FabCon to Europe in September with 10 full-day tutorials, a partner pre-day, an MVP pre-day, more than 120 sessions from the product team and the Fabric community, plus our swag-filled Power Hour, where you can get a shirt like this or something similar. We haven't figured it out yet. It's going to be awesome, though. We'll be bringing all of that to Stockholm, Sweden, the week of September 24th to the 27th. Check out aka.ms/fabcon-Europe for more details and register with code MSCUST to save €200. Let's go ahead and get started. And as always, for more details about the announcements, check out the updates blog. The link is in the video description below. Power BI reporting. Customize your reference layers in the Azure Maps visual. Recently, we've been bringing you a lot of improvements in the Azure Maps visual, including reference layer support for a variety of new data formats. This month, we're excited to announce several more improvements to the reference layer, including CSV support, new customization options, and dynamic URL sources. Let's take a look at a demo from Maria and Hugh on how to customize your reference layers in the Azure Maps visual.
Thanks to a lot of close collaboration between the Azure Maps and Power BI teams, we've been making a ton of improvements to the Azure Maps visual lately, both in terms of availability, things like security and data residency, or enabling Azure Maps in embedded, and in terms of actual visual formatting. And on the formatting side, one of our recent areas of focus has been the reference layer. We've been doing a ton of work here, and you may have seen that we now support a bunch of new data formats. Well, this month, we're shipping even more improvements to reference layers. That's CSV support, new customization options, and dynamic URL sources. So let's talk through some of these. The first one is pretty straightforward. CSV files now join the ranks of GeoJSON, shapefiles, WKT, and KML files as supported file types for our reference layers. So you can add them the same way that you upload any other reference layer, and that's in the reference layer card in the formatting pane under this data source section. So you can see I've uploaded a KML file, but you can do CSV files now as well. I'm going to leave this as a KML file, and the reason why is because I want to show you a little bit of formatting for more than just points. Because on top of that, for all of our reference layers, you can now format their shapes from inside the formatting pane. And you can see that here, where there are a ton of additional formatting cards for shapes and points and lines, and you can format them separately, adjust their colors, their fills, even the line width or stroke width for the points, lines, and shapes. And so if I want to make this circle green because it represents the parks within a certain radius from the University of Seattle, I can just do that. And I can do that right in Power BI. So I think that's really convenient because it's not like the reference layer data that you're uploading is actually going to have those colors or line weights or what have you. Usually, that's all just the raw data, like point or geometry coordinates. So now you don't have to go into your files, into your KML files, and try to put that formatting there. You can just format the data in Power BI itself. And lastly, for those of you who need your reference layers to change with time or some other data-bound condition, you can now provide a dynamic URL using conditional formatting. So we've already had this upload a URL button here, and you could change the file that URL points to, in the sense that if you wanted to upload the same file to the different files of the same URL, you could do that to have it dynamically update, sure. But now you can instead use conditional formatting to put a measure here so that the URL itself changes, which lets you use custom logic in Power BI to determine the reference layer URL that the Azure Maps visual is going to use to draw that reference layer. So for example, if you wanted to load in different reference layers based on the university that I've selected in a slicer on the side, I could do that. And then I could switch between, the University of Washington and Seattle University or UBC and so on. And I can write a measure that lets me select which URL ends up being displayed in the data source. So that's the major improvements that we've made to Azure Maps this month. Thank you so much for all the interest you've had so far in the Azure Maps visual. We are still working really hard on the visual, and we hope that you're finding it useful in visualizing all of your geospatial data. So let us know what new additions you'd like to see, or any other improvements, and we'll see you soon with even more updates.
Power BI Modeling. The enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop is now generally available. With this editor, you can quickly and easily create row-level security roles and filters. Simply choose Manage Roles from the ribbon to open the editor. By default, this will open an easy-to-use drop-down interface for creating and editing security roles without having to write any DAX. We heard your request and have added the ability to use DAX Query View while live connected to a published semantic model. With this release, you can write DAX queries with DAX Query View when live connected to a published semantic model in Power BI Desktop. We have 2 demos to share with you. The first one is about the new enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop, brought to us by Emily Lisa.
We're excited to announce the general availability of the enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop. This editor allows you to seamlessly define row-level security roles and roles within Power BI Desktop. I'll show you a quick demo of how to use this editor. In the Power BI Desktop ribbon, select Manage Roles, and a new window opens up. To create a new role, select the New button. And now I can name this role. In this example, I'm defining a role named Central. Next, I'll select the table I want to apply a row-level security filter to. And in this example, I'm applying this filter to the sales territory table. Under Filter Data, I can use the New button to start creating my roles. I want my roles to meet the conditions that the region Central, and I want to add another role on the condition that says the country is United States. I can also switch to the DAX editor, which pre-populates the expression for the roles I just set with the default editor. I can make changes to this rule with DAX. I can even decide to take this out completely and write it. And as you can see, the editor has an autocomplete feature known as IntelliSense that helps you with writing formulas. So in this case, I can write country again equals to France. I can also validate this expression to make sure it's correct. I can also revert any changes I've made by clicking the X button, which takes away all the changes that I've made in here. I can also switch to the default editor if I want to go write my rules all over again. You can save your changes, and you can close the window when you're done. You can find more information about the RLS editor in the official Microsoft Docs.
The next demo that we have is from Zoe Douglas, showing us how to use DAX Query View when live connected to a published semantic model using Power BI Desktop.
2 popular requests we see in the feedback shared on DAX Query View are finally possible. First, when modifying measures using DAX Query View, you now have the option to update the model with multiple measure changes. Here I have had Copilot suggest some new measures, and I can now add all of them to the model with one click. Second, running DAX queries with DAX Query View is now available for published semantic models when you are live connected in Power BI Desktop. use DAX queries to analyze these published semantic models as you author reports. To live connect in Power BI Desktop, you can go to the OneLake Data Hub, choose one of the published semantic models you have access to, and click Connect. This creates the live connection. And now, on the left side, you can see DAX Query View is available. In Live Connected Reports, Table View is not available, so now DAX Query View can fill this gap by giving you a way to view the data in the model in addition to analyzing the data before you start creating visuals. Here, a sample query is already entered, so you can simply click Run to see the data. Quick queries from the data pane, tables, and columns will generate more DAX queries for you. Right-click any table to not only see a data preview, but also column statistics can give you a table profile. Each column has their own column statistics based on their data type. Text columns provide basic counts, mins, and maxes, while numeric columns give median, average, and standard deviation. And finally, date columns provide insight into the range the dates cover in years, months, and days. Model measured DAX formulas are not available to be viewed or edited in live connection reports, but you can still use Quick Query's Evaluate Measure to quickly start your analysis, allowing you to then add appropriate group by columns or filtering. Even though you cannot edit the existing measures, you can still create query-level measures using the defined syntax of DAX queries, even in Live Connect, to give you all the tools to analyze this data exactly how you need. And you can always use this DAX formula to create a report-level measure by copying and pasting the DAX formula to a new measure in the report view. These report measures also can be quickly used in DAX Query View by using the Define with References and Evaluate Quick Query. This is because report measures always have to be defined in the DAX query to be evaluated, as they are not actually part of the underlying semantic model. If you already have a Live Connect report created, you can open it in Power BI Desktop and use DAX Query View. Here I have a Live Connect report to a direct lake semantic model. So when I run this DAX query, it's getting the data stored in the OneLake. And this existing report visuals, DAX queries, are easily surfaced in the DAX Query View by using the Performance Analyzer. Copilot is here to help not only explain DAX queries or DAX topics, but to write DAX queries, such as showing some of the measures by country and year. So try analyzing your published semantic models in the new Direct Lake Storage mode, import, or direct query using DAX queries today. Thank you.
Power BI Service. Storytelling in Power BI, the new export to PowerPoint dialog. To reduce complexity and drive more clarity, we've merged two options to export to PowerPoint into a single dialog. You can now choose between embedding live data using the Power BI add-in for PowerPoint and exporting the report as images from the same dialog. We hope that this change simplifies your experience. Power BI developers. New update for field parameter feature for custom visuals. Source field parameters is a new property in Data View Metadata column that identifies whether a query field results from a field parameter resolution. Can originate from multiple field parameters, this property will list all the related field parameters. This new update is available with API version 5.10.0. Power BI visualizations. We have many great visualizations and new visuals in AppSource this month. Power BI new visuals in AppSource include Icon Map Pro, Stack Trends Visual, Smart Grid Map, Multi-Level Matrix Zerpa, Sand Key Diagram, Waffle Chart Maker, Waterfall Chart, and SPC Visual. New visualizations include Linear Gauge by PowerViz, Drill Down Map Pro by Zoomchar, and Power Gantt Chart by Nova Silva. Power BI Paginated Reports. You can now bind your paginated reports to gateways with a REST API. This will allow paginated reports to connect to on-prem gateways without requiring users to go into the UI in the Power BI service and update the gateway. We've also introduced a new experience to WebAuthor paginated reports. It's not just an update to the look and feel, but we've introduced a whole host of new capabilities. You can now define parameters, create headers and footers, and add page numbers to your web-authored reports. Be sure to go check this out. And now we have a demo of the new Paginated Report functionality with the web authoring experience from Nirupama Srinivasan.
We're extremely pleased to announce the new web authoring experience for Paginated Reports on the Power BI service. With this new experience, you can now create parameters, add headers, footers, as well as text boxes and images below the table for the Paginated report. Let's get started. I'm starting with the regional sales sample dataset in my workspace. I'm going to go ahead and create a Paginated report. As you could see, you have an editor and a preview experience side by side, so you could build your report in the editor and view a sample in the preview portion of the screen. Let's get started with creating a tabular report. I'm going to go ahead and pick product category, as well as look at the opportunities. So I want to look at the open opportunities or the opportunity count for each of the products that exist. I don't really want the total opportunity for this, so I'm going to go ahead, click on this, and then remove that portion of it. We continue to support all the existing functionality like renaming columns, which you could do here. If I just want to call this opportunity underscore count, I can go ahead and do that. I also don't like the location of the table, so I'm going to move this a little bit so that it's in the middle and I have enough space on both the left and right. This looks okay to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a header. I have the option to pick a text box, image, or any of these fields like a page number, execution time to the top of my report or as a header. I'm going to go ahead and first add a text box. I'm going to call this contourso.com. This is going to be on every page. I've selected that. I don't like this color. I'm going to stick with the company color. Pick teal. Looks okay at this point. I'm going to also go ahead and add an image, which is the company logo. I'm going to pick the location where I want to add the image. And this looks okay. I'm going to reposition this as well. Now, in the body of the report, I want to add a text box, which just is a note for anyone looking at this report that small and medium businesses are not included. Okay. Again, I want to stick with the same colors that I have for my company. So I'm going to go ahead, resize that, and I want to go ahead and format it to have my teal color. Looks okay. Now I'm going to go ahead, insert a footer. For the footer, I want to have a page number. If you look at the preview, it's on the left. I don't like the way it looks, so I'm going to go ahead, move it to the right. I'm also going to go ahead and add an execution time. I think this looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and create a parameter. So I'm going to go ahead and click on more options, create parameter. Now, why do we even want to create this parameter? With a lot of our reports, not everything that's part of the report is relevant to everybody consuming the report. And so by adding a parameter, we give consumers of the report the ability to look at relevant information by selecting the values that they want. Let me do a demo. So I create parameter. So I've gone ahead and created product as a parameter. It's available here. You look at the parameters here. It has all of these values, but I may not be interested in all of these values. And so I'm saving this report to show you what the consumer of this report would see. So let me say demo report 1, save. When I open this report, see that the product parameter is required to view the report. So say I'm interested only in the products which have 1-year warranty. So I go ahead, select that, and I'm viewing the report.
Power BI Report Server. Power BI Report Server is now included with F64 and above reserved instance purchases. It continues to be available with SQL Server Enterprise Edition core licenses with software assurance. You can get your PBIRS key in the Fabric Capacity tab under Capacity Settings in the Admin Portal. Fabric Core. General availability of Fabric Private Links. Private Links for Fabric tenants secures inbound access to Fabric from select virtual networks or VNets and allows you to block access from the Internet. With this feature enabled, you can secure connectivity to Fabric OneLake and experiences like Data Warehouse, Data Engineering, Data Science, and Data Factory. In addition, we have also announced private link support for event houses. General availability of managed private endpoints. Managed private endpoints provide secure connectivity from Fabric to data sources that are behind a firewall and not accessible from the public Internet. Managed private endpoints currently enable Fabric data engineering items to access data sources securely without exposing them to the public network or requiring complex network configurations. Managed private endpoints are supported for various data sources, such as Azure Storage, Azure SQL Database, and many others, the most recent addition being Azure Event Hub and Azure IoT Hub. We will also expand to more workloads as we go. General availability of Trusted Workspace Access. Trusted Workspace Access allows seamless and secure access to firewall-enabled Azure storage accounts. It is designed to help you securely and easily access data stored in storage accounts from Fabric workspaces without compromising on performance or functionality. This feature extends the power and flexibility of OneLake shortcuts to work with data in protected storage accounts in place without compromising on security. You can also use this capability with data pipelines and the Copy Into feature of Fabric warehouses to ingest data securely and easily into Fabric workspaces. CI/CD, GitHub integration for source control. Organizations who use GitHub or GitHub Enterprise as their source control tool can now seamlessly integrate with Fabric by connecting Fabric workspaces to GitHub and back up their work. This integration will enjoy the same functionalities that the integration with Azure DevOps offers in Fabric today. New branching capabilities in Fabric Git integration. Creating and managing Git branches and connected workspaces with Git integration just got easier with the latest enhancements to Fabric Git integration. The updated source control pane in every Git connected workspace now includes these features. Branch out to a new workspace, where you can effortlessly create a new isolated environment, allowing developers to work independently without impacting the team's shared workspace. This makes it quick and easy to get started on new tasks. Explore related workspace. You can now easily access any workspace connected to the same Git repo and folder, enabling seamless work across different workspaces and branches directly from your current workspace. Now let's take a look at some demos from the team.
In this demo, I'm going to copy data from a firewall-enabled storage account into a Fabric Lakehouse using data pipelines. Let's begin by looking at the networking settings of a storage account. Public network access is enabled only from select virtual networks and IP addresses. Next, I'm going to deploy an ARM template. This ARM template here will create one resource instance rule for the storage account. It will allow a specific Fabric workspace to access the storage account, but only when it has a workspace identity. Let's deploy this ARM template. Now let's go back to the storage account. We can see that a resource instance rule has been created for this Fabric workspace. There's one more thing to take care of. I need to ensure that the organizational account or service principal that is used for authentication to the storage account has an RBAC role on the storage account. I'm going to use an admin user, and I can see that this admin user has the storage blob data contributor role. Next, let's go to the Fabric workspace. I've already created this workspace. Notice its workspace ID. This is the same workspace ID that was used for the resource instance rule. Next, we will create a workspace identity for this workspace. I'm in the workspace settings
on the Workspace Identity tab, and I will create the workspace identity. Now that the identity has been created, we can start loading data into the lakehouse. I've already created a lakehouse for this demo today. I'm going to click on Get Data and New Data Pipeline. Next, I will choose ADLS Gen 2 as my data source and provide the URL of a storage account. I'm going to create a new connection, and I will choose organizational account for authentication. I want to load this data in the Files section of the Lakehouse. And I will start the data transfer immediately. The pipeline has started execution. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Lakehouse. We're now in the Contoso demo Lakehouse, and we can see that the file has been created here. Let's open this file and see its contents. You can learn more about Trusted Workspace Access by going through our documentation on our blogs. Thank you.
In this video, we'll see how to connect the Fabric workspace into GitHub. We'll start by creating a new account that uses a personal access token to grant access to GitHub. I go to my GitHub profile and click Settings and Developer Settings. I'll then choose Fine Grained Token to generate a token that applies to a specific repository. I'll choose the repository I want the token to apply to and give the appropriate permission to that repo. After generating the token, I'll paste it back into Fabric, as well as specifying the repository URL. After creating the new account to GitHub, I'm connecting with that account, and now I can continue and connect my workspace using a branch and a folder from GitHub. After clicking Connect and Sync, we can see that now the items in the workspace are synced into my GitHub repository.
Let's start out in my team's shared development workspace. This is where all of my team's work is kept, and ideally I wouldn't be making changes directly to this workspace. In this example, I'm going to be adding another activity to my data pipeline. To create my isolated work environment, I'll head over to the source control pane. From there, I can navigate over to the Branches tab. I can see other tasks that my teammates are working on. Clicking on those will take me to the respective workspace. I can also click on the currently connected branch and click Branch Out to a new workspace to create my isolated environment. I'll go ahead and type in a name for the branch, following my team's naming convention. I will also fill in a name for the workspace. Once I click on Branch Out, I will be navigated to my new work environment. This environment is a new workspace that's connected to a copy of the origin branch. Once the sync between the branch and the workspace is complete, I will have an isolated work environment where I can work on any of the items without impacting the shared workspace. Now we can go ahead and make the change that we wanted in the data pipeline. I can now see that there are uncommitted changes to the pipeline. I will open the source control pane and click on the item to commit the changes into Git.
Fabric Synapse Data Warehouse, announcing the general availability of time travel and 30 days of data history retention in Fabric Warehouse. In the rapidly evolving world of generative artificial intelligence, historical data plays a significant role in influencing the decision-making process and shaping organizational strategies. Historical data retention with Data Warehouse refers to the practice of preserving and managing previous iterations of data, encompassing any inserts, updates, or deletes made to the data warehouse for a specific period. As a quick response to the valuable customer feedback, we are thrilled to extend the retention period of data history to 30 calendar days from 7 calendar days and announce the general availability of time travel at the T-SQL statement level. Seamless data recovery through warehouse restoration within Fabric Query Editor. We are thrilled to announce the capability to perform restore in place of a warehouse in Microsoft Fabric through the Fabric Warehouse Editor. In today's rapidly evolving data management landscape, maintaining the resilience and continuity of your data infrastructure is essential. Unplanned system failures and scheduled maintenance alike demand the ability to restore data warehouses swiftly and seamlessly. This capability is no longer just a feature, it's a critical necessity in modern analytics environments. A quick and reliable data warehouse recovery solution is indispensable, not only to protect against data corruption, but also to ensure business continuity. This month, we're announcing the general availability of alter table, add nullable columns. In the ever-evolving data landscape of data organizations, schemas are shifting and changing to keep up with the influx of new data. Whether your schema modifications are few and far between, or a regular occurrence that constantly needs to adapt to changing requirements, we have you covered. Our goal is to ensure that customers have everything they need for a seamless data warehouse experience, and we will continue to strive towards ensuring our T-SQL service area meets the needs of our customers. And now it's time for another demo.
Hi, in this demo, we're going to cover the ability to perform in-place restore of a warehouse within the Fabric Query Editor. In-place restore capability is a critical necessity in modern analytics environments. A quick and reliable data warehouse recovery solution is indispensable, not only to protect against data corruption, but also to ensure business continuity. In order to do this, let's first go to the warehouse settings and go to the restore points page. Here, I can add a restore point by giving it a name and a description. I can see that the restore point has been created successfully. Now, let me go to the warehouse. In this warehouse, these are the tables that I have in my schema. I want to drop this table I can see that the table has dropped and it's also refreshed in the metadata schema. Now let me go to the settings and the restore points. Now I want to restore the warehouse to the point before I dropped the table. I will click on the context menu restore action. I get a confirmation dialog that asks me to read the impact of restoring a warehouse before I click on restore. I can see that the restoration is in progress and now it has been successfully restored. Now let's go back to the warehouse. Now I'm back to the warehouse and here I can see that the trip table has been restored back. Now let me click on the restore points again. Now I can see an information banner that shows the details on when the restoration happened, who it was restored by, and what was the name of the restore point and the date and time to which it was restored. I can also perform other context menu actions like renaming and deleting. So to summarize, we saw a quick and easy way to perform in-place restore of a warehouse within Fabric Query Editor. Thank you.
Fabric Synapse Data Engineering. Capacity pools for Spark in Microsoft Fabric for data engineering and data science. Capacity pools designed specifically for Fabric and data engineering and data science workloads is now in public preview. With this feature, capacity administrators can create custom pools using the Capacity Spark Settings option. Environment Resources folder. We are thrilled to announce the launch of our new Environment Resources folder a shared repository designed to streamline collaboration across multiple notebooks. In the existing notebook, the Resources folder provides a per-notebook resource to store small-sized dataset, sample files, code modules, and configuration files. It provides convenient browsing, folder structure management, upload, download, drag and drop, and simple file interactions. Lakehouse Schemas, a new way to organize your tables, now in public preview. Lakehouse Schemas is a new feature that allows you to group and manage your tables in logical namespaces. With Lakehouse Schemas, you can organize your tables into categories, such as business domains, projects, or teams. You can reference multiple tables at once using schema shortcuts instead of shortcutting each table individually. Apply security policies to schemas for more granular access controls, such as granting or revoking permissions to a group of tables all at once. You can also cross-reference and join tables from different workspaces using Spark SQL without having to copy or move data. Now let's take a look at a demo of Lakehouse Schemas.
To enable schema support in a lakehouse, you need to select Lakehouse Schema checkbox when creating a lakehouse. Once the lakehouse is created, you can see DBO schema, which is default one on all lakehouses. Let's load some data for a company that sells bicycles nationwide. To create a new schema, you just click on Tables and choose New Schema. Once the schema is created, you can create new tables in it or move tables from other schemas using drag and drop option. Let's create schemas for West and East region sales. Now with PySpark code in Notebook, you can filter your sales data based on region and store it in the related schemas. Having schema separation allows you to organize data and give you the opportunity to set different access for individual or groups. Lakehouse schemas also enable you to reference multiple tables at once. Let's reference Delta tables with service department data that are stored in Azure Data Lake storage. To create a schema shortcut, click on Tables and choose Schema Shortcut, and point it to the parent folder of those Delta tables. And all tables will immediately be available for your consumption in Lakehouse. Furthermore, if you add or delete any Delta tables in your storage account, that will immediately be reflected in your Lakehouse. All of the schemas and tables in Lakehouse are available through SQL endpoint. You can use any read SQL statement to access schemas or tables. The Lakehouse content also is available in default semantic model or custom semantic models. Using semantic models, you can build Power BI reports that will be using data from Lakehouse. Another great feature that this change introduced is four-part naming in Spark SQL. To reference a table, you will specify workspace, lakehouse, and schema. You can see that in Notebook Explorer when you drag and drop table name from the lakehouse into code cell. The big advantage of four-part naming is the ability to cross-join tables in your Spark SQL statement across multiple workspaces. Let's find out which of the company customers are also employees. We join our customer table from the current workspace with the employee table in HR workspace. As long as the user has access to the table content within the tenant boundaries, it can be accessed with Spark SQL. Schemas create a lot of new opportunities for data organization and querying, and we will continue to enrich that experience to meet and exceed your expectations.
Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. OneLake Explorer support for Event House. The OneLake File Explorer application seamlessly integrates Microsoft OneLake with the Windows File Explorer. Event House OneLake availability enables Delta Parquet representation of tables in Event House. You can now view Delta Parquet representations of Event House tables using OneLake File Explorer. Real-time dashboards now support ultra-low refresh rates of just 1 and 10 seconds, ensuring you always have the freshest and most accurate data at your fingertips. With the auto refresh feature, your dashboard updates automatically, eliminating the need to manually reload the page or click a refresh button. Kusto language .update command is now GA. Kusto databases, either in Fabric, KQL Database, or Azure Data Explorer, are optimized for append ingestion. In recent years, we've introduced the .delete command, allowing you to selectively delete records. In February, we introduced the .update command in public preview. This command allows you to update records by deleting existing records and appending new ones in a single transaction. Fabric Data Factory, Dataflow's Gen 2, Global View in Managed Connections. Managed Connections is a feature that allows you to see and edit connections in your data flow and data sources that don't have any linked connection, so you can create a new one. Starting today, we're adding a new global view to the Managed Connections that will also allow you to see all available connections in your Fabric environment, so you can modify them or delete them without ever having to leave the Dataflow's experience. Support for editing navigation steps. Whenever you connect to a data source that showcases a navigation dialog, you end up with a query that has a source step and either one or a series of navigation steps. For example, when you use a Lakehouse connector, you can navigate to that workspace that you have access to, then to the Lakehouse within them, and the objects found within your Lakehouse become available so you can navigate to them. Another example is when you connect to an OData service like Northwind that displays a list of tables that are available to you. On-premises support for fast copy. You can now boost your performance with fast copy in Dataflow's Gen 2 when loading data from on-premises data stores, including SQL Server. The way you configure the gateway in Dataflow's Gen 2 to get access to the on-premises data stores is the same for fast copy in Dataflow's Gen 2. By doing so, you can now ingest terabytes of data from an on-premises data store with the easy experience of Dataflow's, but with the scalable back end of the pipeline copy activity. Certified connector updates. We're pleased to announce the new and updated connectors for this month's release. Check out the monthly blog update for the full list. Fabric Data Pipelines. You can now edit the JSON code behind your Data Factory pipelines in Fabric. Fabric Data Factory is the low-code data integration service in Microsoft Fabric that includes data flows, data pipelines, and many other data integrations and ETL capabilities. When designing your low-code pipeline workflows, directly editing JSON code behind your visual pipeline canvas can increase your flexibility and improve your market time. Longtime ADF and Synapse developers have also asked for this capability in Fabric, and we're super excited to now announce the Edit JSON capability has been added to Fabric Data Factory data pipelines. New connectors. We're excited to announce the release of 2 new powerful connectors in the Fabric Data Factory data pipeline: Azure MySQL Database Connector and Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB Connector. These connectors are designed to significantly enhance your data integration and management capabilities. The Azure MySQL Database Connector enables seamless, secure, and efficient integration with MySQL databases hosted on Azure, simplifying data workflows and ensuring robust performance. Meanwhile, the Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB Connector offers unparalleled ease of connection to Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB instances, providing high compatibility and performance for your NoSQL data needs. Snowflake Storage Integration. We're thrilled to announce a new powerful feature in the Fabric Data Factory Snowflake connector to support Snowflake storage integration. This enhancement allows users to seamlessly connect and integrate Snowflake's storage integration, enabling more efficient and secure data movement. With Snowflake storage integration, you can streamline data workflows, optimize performance across all staging scenarios without the need to bring external storage to stage your dataset as you do today. There is now a new capability of OneLake Data Hub at the homepage of the modern Get Data in Data Pipeline experience. Now you can select any existing connection from the OneLake Data Hub, not just your recent and favorite ones. This makes it much easier to access your data sources from the homepage of the modern Get Data in Data Pipeline experience. That's all for this month. Please visit our Fabric Community forums at aka.ms/Fabric Community. It's the best place for you to connect with others to get your questions answered. Please, tell us how we can do better. We are listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next month.